Hey y'all, so today I have a pretty heavy story about a woman, a Dutch woman who was 28 years old, who recently passed away with basically physician assisted. So, physician assisted dying over in the Netherlands. I originally found this story over on Twitter when somebody had shared a meme and a tweet that she had posted prior to her passing. This account is called @DutchLauren. You can still find these tweets there, and it says, "This will be my last tweet. Thanks for the love, everyone. I'm going to rest a bit more and be with my loved ones. Enjoy a last morbid meme from me. Heart, sunglass face, thumbs up." And then it has a meme, a picture of a child, looks like they're at the dentist with sunglasses on, and the doctor with his mask down, and they're both giving a thumbs up, and it has the headline, "Me getting euthanized." So obviously when I saw this, I was right away like, what the heck? Like, I was disturbed. And so I had to go to the person's account because I was like, do they think this is just funny? What is this? What kind of joke is this? And I went, saw it, and realized that this person had actually already passed away back on January 27th. And their family had put out a statement on the account as well. So pretty upsetting stuff. So you have to ask yourself whenever you see something like this and you're totally disturbed because the person is very young, only 20 years old. Why? Was this person battling cancer? Did they have a debilitating disorder like ALS where they were going to be passing away shortly anyways? Like, what happened here to this person to make them want to make this choice and for doctors to really think that this would be in the person's best interest? So I started looking and I saw this word, myalgic encephalomyelitis, and I thought, okay, that sounds like that could be serious. As someone who worked in healthcare for 6 years plus, 6 years as a physician assistant plus other jobs prior to that, I had never heard of this, and it sounds could be serious when you read the terminology. So then they say ADHD and say that she has autism, although she's obviously seems to be fully verbal as she had a blog post and everything. So when I saw the ADHD and the autism on there, that was kind of a red flag. I went and searched, and what is this myalgic encephalomyelitis? Well, it turns out that is a fancy term for chronic fatigue syndrome. So chronic fatigue syndrome, as we know, it's kind of a vague syndrome with extreme exhaustion after physical or mental exercise, problems with memory or thinking. Sometimes they can have dizziness, like a feeling of pretty extreme weakness, but it's not something that would be like progressive to like lose the use of your limbs or be unable to walk at all, things like that. So I was kind of, disturbed when I read that. And as you go on, you see photos, if you search back through her history and everything, you start to see photos of her in wheelchairs and looking kind of bedridden and everything. And in reality, this doesn't, seem to line up in the way that you would expect it to. Like when you see those photos and you read the original word, you're thinking, okay, this person was so debilitated. And then when you realize that that word means chronic fatigue syndrome, it becomes a little bit more, again, of a red flag there, kind of confusing of how debilitated was this person actually, what kinds of other therapy could have really benefited them to help them to regain some strength. Had they looked at nutrition, what had really been done for her from a lifestyle perspective to help her, versus just kind of like letting the person slowly slide into being debilitated. Because as we know, elderly people, anyone like that, if you become bedridden for a while, you stop moving your muscles, it becomes a horrible feedback loop of you get weaker and more debilitated and sicker, and it can just really spiral for a person. So then, yes, my immediate thoughts were what had been tried to help to improve her quality of life before they made this decision. So I came over to, this Daily Mail article, and y'all can find it on there. I'll actually link it in the description also. And it talks a little bit more, gives some more context and everything. Says that she had been wanting this since before the pandemic, but it was delayed due to the pandemic. It sounds like there's a bunch of pictures of her out doing things. In some of the photos, she looks, mobile, and some of them she looks very debilitated. And, there's just a wide array of like what was really going on, like what was the progression and everything. Let's see. So there's a quote from her mother wrote in a blog post that her heart bleeds for her daughter. She wrote, "Please know that we have done everything realistically possible to find a way out. She wanted to get so much more out of life, but doesn't want to live to be 30 years old like this," which is so sad. She was only 28 years old, let alone 60 or 80 years old. So, on her blog, Lauren had said that she always felt stuck in life as a result of her autism, ADHD, and her ME, which is chronic fatigue. So before her diagnosis, they must mean the chronic fatigue syndrome. She enjoyed climbing, running, training a service dog who she sadly had to rehome following her diagnosis. So you have to wonder, here's another thing that I just thought about. This is just off the top of my head. If she had ADHD and she had autism, she had kind of some mental health stuff going on, what other medications had they put her on? Was she on ADHD medication? Was she on antidepressants? Was she on, with some of these newer antipsychotics that they use kind of for off-label type of uses that could have contributed to why she had this development of this chronic fatigue syndrome? What could have been contributing, and how much did the doctors really look at that versus just saying like, this is a new diagnosis, we don't know what happened, and eventually, going on to be a part of her death in the form of euthanasia, which is so upsetting. We don't know. I don't know. I would have to dig into the story further. Again, she has a blog post with them link treed over on her Twitter, but it's all in Dutch, I believe, and I couldn't really read most of the terminology. So again, let's kind of pivot here. I did a little bit more research into this topic, and I want to say here in America, we always think like, oh, we would be protected from this because doctors, don't they take an oath that says, do no harm, that they'll do no harm. We call that the Hippocratic Oath. Well, it turns out actually back in 1973 that the same year, and I don't know if these two facts are linked together, but the same year that they passed Roe v. Wade, so abortion, this was called by the Supreme Court outdated, and it was said that, hanging on to this Hippocratic Oath was, out of step with the times, that they weren't going to be able to do all of the different medical interventions that we can now if we hang on to this quote. So I don't believe that they've been having that in medical schools or medical practice since that time, or possibly even, prior. So it is upsetting to think like your doctor doesn't actually have that oath that you believe that they do to sustain your life, health, and not harm you. And as evidenced by this physician-assisted dying and also abortion, we can tell that that's absolutely the way that the medical industry is going, which is so disturbing and so upsetting. So I also found a video from Matt Walsh that I watched part of. I'm going to link that in the description also, where he talked about this topic, and he kind of centered on Canada because they have maids there, and that was kind of a big story last year. This video was about 8 months old, and he showed a doctor who was talking about, she does the end of life care, and the interviewer that he's watching the clip of is saying, I thought it was so charming the way that, your patient that you were assisting to die decided to dress up like a clown. And she says it was a wonderful thing to facilitate for Ed. So Ed must have been her patient. And Matt Walsh really talks about how she's kind of like smirking. They're both smiling when they talk about this, and how kind of, obviously like upsetting that is. To me, it was definitely very creepy. It's not what you think about when you think about healthcare being provided to a person. And it's not like I wouldn't feel comfortable seeing a doctor who also performs euthanasia. So no thank you there. He talked about some interesting facts with Canada that I did not know. So they actually, this MAIDS program that they do, they had put out a lot of data about how much money it was going to save, which I think we all knew was partially behind it because Canada does have socialized healthcare. And then the other thing that I did not know, and this was so creepy and disturbing, is that they were really behind on organ donations and that they were using this MAIDS program as a way to collect organs to like redistribute. And so now it sounded like they have one of the highest amounts of organ for transplants like in the world, I believe. I think he said like next to China. So that's pretty disturbing. He shared another thing that they're doing there that was like even more bizarre, where funeral homes were now getting involved to the fact that you could just come to the funeral home. They set up a nice room for you. The doctor comes and they euthanize the person there at the funeral home. And it's just like, it's so bizarre. The whole thing is so bizarre. I get that everyone's trying to get a piece of their cut, but it's like at what time in your life do you develop some morals where you're like, maybe this is like too far. Maybe I shouldn't actually be killing people. Or maybe if doctors think it's okay to kill people, I as a funeral home shouldn't be like lining up to profit off of this. So I thought that was pretty giving me the icks there for sure. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Like the thing with this physician assisted dying, like I've said a million times, it's not healthcare. The doctor's job should be a responsibility, an ethical responsibility to their patient to make them comfortable, to try to help them heal their body, and to try to sustain life and promote healing. Where a death is a role in that, I don't believe so. So here's an anecdotal thing that I'll tell you all. Behind me here, we have a little kitten house that's actually a pack and play. My kitten that was born the other day, she was born premature. All the other babies, this was my cat that had that horrible fall and was knocked out. She had a seizure. I thought she had passed away, and then she was miraculously alive and seemed totally fine. Well, it turns out she was actually pregnant, and she had her babies the other day. One was totally stillborn. The other one, I believe, was also, I didn't see its birth. But one baby did survive. It's very weak. I've been trying to feed it. The mom is trying to feed it. We're trying to make it as comfortable as possible. Nothing in me is going to say that I should just go ahead and, end this kitten's life, okay? I'm going to make sure that it's comfortable, that it's not meowing. I'm going to try to feed it. I'm going to try to give it everything it needs to survive. I'm going to pray over it. I'm going to encourage that mama cat to take care of it. And that is my responsibility as a cat owner. That is my responsibility as a human being. That is my responsibility as a soul on this earth to another soul. So to think that they can have such discretion against like a human life is really scary. It's even scarier for me now that I'm experiencing all of this birth and, loss and everything in just the form of animals, just the form of pets, to think that there are, doctors out there who don't respect human life to such like just a disturbing level. So, here's what I'm going to say. When it comes to healing, when it comes to problems with the body, you always want to give the body a chance to heal. So these people that think that they need to go under, physician-assisted suicide, my thing would be like, here's what they need to do first. They need to remove all the medications from this person that could be causing them harm. As far as like this woman here, we don't know what she was on, but let's say she was on a bunch of mental health medications and then she developed this ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, later. My thoughts would be the correct thing to do would be remove all those medications, give her good nutrition, have almost like a rehab facility where it's all about health, holistic health. So we're going to put her somewhere where she's getting good nutrition, she's getting exercise she can sustain, but it's not too much. She's getting therapy. Could be like talk therapy sessions, stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan, but some people need that. she's getting things like, massage, they're doing, like sauna, different things that feel good for the body, even cold therapy, stuff like that. I would say like a person who is thinking about undergoing this and doesn't have like such extreme, bodily deficits, like they can't move at all, it would be beneficial to try them with a holistic route and remove all the things that could be harming them, making sure, like I said, good nutrition, that's so key, getting sunshine, getting them moving, and trying to just help them to heal their body and heal their mind, because there's something really off there. So I think it's safe to say, unfortunately, that the practice of medicine has gone fully down a bad path. I talked about this in my Instagram live the other day. It's like the mask, like the mask that was over the ugly face has slipped down, and we see what the reality really is. The reality really is they want to make money. They want to make money by harvesting organs. They want to make money by being a part of these procedures. Procedures. If someone is going to die, they want to be a part of it. They want a piece of that pie. And the same thing for the funeral homes. Unfortunately, that's pretty wild. But again, check out that Matt Walsh blog. I'm linking it in the description so you can watch that for yourself. And that's where we're at. They want to be a part of this. They want to make money off of someone's misery and someone's like mental derangement that thinks that life isn't worth living. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Please understand that we all go through feelings in our lives that feel hopeless. We go through times that feel terrible. We go through things where we're like, no one else is dealing with this. Why am I dealing with this? But that is part of the journey of life, and I'm not like a super optimist where I'm going to say like everything will be right in the end. That's not always true. But I will tell you, if you give up sooner than the end, if you don't see things through, then yeah, you gave it no opportunity to get better. You never know what's around the next corner. You never know if trying something completely different, like to heal your body, to aid your mental health, from like a natural, just returning to God, to returning to God's design, is going to totally change how you feel and move throughout life. I know I went through horrible times after I had my son. I had postpartum, like horrible anxiety. It was awful. I was very stressed out. Part of it was my job in healthcare and other things there. But over time, I've healed. And those feelings, all those feelings of life is never going to get better, this is hopeless, I'm just doomed to feel like this forever, I'm always going to feel horrible, and bad about everything and stuff. Those feelings are like a thing of the past. It's hard for me to even remember what they feel like anymore. If I had made a drastic decision at that point, or if a doctor had told me like, oh, you can just have a way out and encourage something like that, I can't even imagine. That's horrible, and not that I don't have that personality, first of all, and everyone needs to tell themselves that they don't have that personality. Like everyone needs to tell themselves they're a fighter and they're going to take whatever happens and they're going to move forward with it, because that is the human condition and that is what we're supposed to do. That's what God wants us to do. He wants us to push forward and be the best that we can, shine as an example for other people. Letting a doctor talk you into ending your life is not just bad for you. It's bad for the doctor. It's bad for everyone. It's bad for society. The whole world is going to be negatively impacted by that decision. So I find it very upsetting, and I hope that this is something that doesn't become like a huge trend. I hope it's something that we recognize early on and that we shy away from, and that physicians will start to see that this is not the route to go. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I do know that their system is crumbling. It's going to continue to crumble because more and more people are waking up. So that's all I have to say about that. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I'll be back with more videos soon. If you're interested in holistic help or any herbal supplements, products like that, please check out our website, link also in the description. And I hope you all have a fantastic day and a beautiful weekend, and I will be back soon.